They've got only that 50% win rate, which for a team that's sort of averaging about 65% win rate across the entire map pool, 50% is quite low.
It's below their average.
Yeah. But for Melbourne Mavericks, they're about 66% on this map in particular, just a bit above their average of 60 overall.
Melbourne going to start off on attack, Elfishguy. That's the choice they are going to make. And
throwing a spanner in the works.
This Winter was on Arna, swaps back across to the Brigida. We see this Goats lineup push on through. Athletico looking very similar right now as well. See who comes out with the first pick. Winter, the first one to take any real sort of damage, looking to try and potentially get Zol off that high ground as well. Winter very close to going down, as is Mini. The first pick going to go to Athletico.
Yeah, look at that. Melbourne Mavericks just so solid, backing away straight away.
Yep.
No real opportunity for Athletico to do too much more damage. They do inevitably get knocks, but it's not the worst of staggers that Melbourne Mavericks could have suffered. Very, very smart stuff from them. They knew as soon as the Reinhardt is down, that is an unwinnable fight for them, and they back away. So now we're just resetting things for the moment. Bit of ult charge there, favouring Athletico, though. Off the back of that, Money's got the ultimate available. Gob close, Sign close as well.
Yeah, Gob right in there. We saw this earlier as well. Players sitting up right against the wall with the Reinhardt. For Gob, it looks like it might work out. The rest of Athletico will be able to follow through, picking up a number of Melbourne Mavericks players in quick succession. We've seen about 90 seconds used here for 2 fights. Not that bad at all. That time around, though, took Oily a little bit of a little while to get back out of Baby D perform. Gonna have to wait for Oily now to respawn. Gonna cost them a bit of time.
Yeah, exactly. And that's perfect stuff from Athletico. Only really using the one ultimate there, the grab, which maybe in the end actually they didn't need, but it's definitely an insurance policy out from Sign there, and they still have a lot. So a very, very economic win for Athletico. This is exactly how you defend point A.
Self-destruct comes through. Mini has to turn around. That leaves the rest of the team open. But it's actually USMC who's found out first. Money going to throw out the trans. Forble's already used one. Fluoro uses sound barrier as well. Nox finds Sign. This fight going in Melbourne's favour, actually. If they can follow this up with a number of quick follow-up kills, this will certainly help them out. And it looks to me like maybe Objective A could be theirs.
Yeah, Athletico just getting picked off a little bit there. They're not playing quite so solidly. They're not playing as a unit. They're very, very spread out around the map, and that means that players are getting shot around the shield. They're getting hit by the Earth Shatter around the shield, that kind of thing. And so Athletico, I think, need to just group up a little bit better. Melbourne Mavericks able to find those little errors in the Athletico playstyle, and they're able to punish them for it. 5.5 minutes here for Melbourne Mavericks to have a crack at point B, and this is, again, one of those more difficult points to crack.
Yeah.
But Melbourne Mavericks do have the Shadow combo, the grab combo.
Looking for a big hole in one here potentially from Melbourne to get them across the line. If they can do it early, there's the Graviton Surge. Actually not going to have any success there, but the shield here for Gob is low, about to go down. Melbourne looking for a number of kills, and that's Gob, who is actually picked up there by Mini. Forbles has the trans, that's pop first. Money still waiting on his trans to come up, finally comes through, but the kills aren't coming out here for Melbourne. Even though they find USMC, the spawn's obviously in Atletico's favour. They're looking to find just that first 1/3. For now, they haven't been able to get it.
Oh, Money does get overwhelmed by Oily. That's nice work from him. A little bit of extra heals down, but more importantly, the Discord not there. It's going to keep Melbourne Mavericks alive, a little bit more healthy in this fight as the sound barrier comes down and fades away for them as well. Money swapping over onto the Moira here as well in a last-ditch attempt to get closer to that point. Maybe charge that Coalescence up pretty quickly as well. Could be the linchpin, but in the end, Athletico are holding strong, so Money most likely just goes back to spawn here and swaps back over onto the Zenyatta.
Yeah, that was a long fight to lose for Melbourne, as well as not actually being able to get that 33% on the board.
Yeah, definitely. Pretty weird fight there as well for Melbourne Mavericks. I'm not sure what actually happened to Nox's Graviton Surge at the very start. I think I saw it in the pit. I thought it got eaten, but I think I actually saw a little bit of a corner of it in the pit. I'll have to go back and have a look at the replay, but I don't know what happened there for him. But your grab needs to be on point here. Yes. Everything needs to be on point heading into point B, because if you aren't being able to use those ultimates to push on through, then you're just not going to be able to cap. The respawns are going to be too strong.
Melbourne going to push into the point. They do have an advantage when it comes to ultis, but Gob has thrown out a nice little Earth Shatter as well. Self-destruct coming through, looking for some picks. Gonna D-Mech Zol. Graviton Surge from Athletico on point. Just going to slow them down for now. Baubles, is he going to go down? He is caught out by Gob, and Athletico should be able to secure this one.
Yeah, it's an awesome grab from Sign. Not only does it catch almost all of Melbourne Mavericks in it, and Athletico find a couple of kills, but then straight after that fight, it really deposits the Reinhardt down onto the low ground. Mini can't have any impact on the fight from there on out as well, so you might as well consider him dead too. Very nice stuff from Sign, but Athletico now have, well, they've got no ultimates, Ben. And Melbourne Mavericks, they also don't have too many, but this Earth Shatter for Mini, if he can get in there, get that on down early, might have an impact. Atletico need a long fight here. They need to ensure that they don't get picked off early because they really need to charge some ultimates up if they're going to hold on to point B. And Money and Evie are getting close.
Melbourne playing the same strat over and over here, taking the high ground onto the low ground, onto the point, avoiding the front door, looking for a boop off the side, and this is a much better fight coming out from Melbourne. They managed to find Gob and Zol's mech. Sign does bring one back. Is it going to be enough? You can see that Melbourne is struggling to find more kills. Atletico, on the other hand, they are not struggling anymore. They pick up 1, 2, 3, and 4. And should be able to win this fight pretty easily. It's
just a matter of timing at that point for Atletico there. Support ult's coming up. I mean, maybe you could say half a second late because they did lose a player before Money was able to use the Transcendence, but in the end, it was in a reasonable enough time for Atletico to win that fight. Evie and Money getting theirs at the crucial opportunity where Forballs, he was missing out. The Graviton Surge from Sign was when Forballs was at 97% of his Transcendence. Wasn't able to keep his team alive, wasn't able to keep his team in it. Melbourne Mavericks have to fall away for another fight. Only a minute 40 left.
They're going to try and fight this one right up on top. Melbourne pushing up into the very high ground this time around. You see Winner has used the rally as well. So a little bit of armor across the board from Melbourne. Self-destruct comes through. Does find Fluoro. Earthshatter goes out from Mini, but then gets caught up there by the grab. A nicely timed grab, a nicely placed grab coming out once again from Signed. And Melbourne, unfortunately, going to have to fall back out. Now only 1 minute remains. This looks so good for them earlier, Jordan. Now it's all sort of falling apart.
Yeah, exactly. I tell you what, Sign is having a great game right now on this Zaya. He's charging those ultimates really, really effectively, really quickly, and also pretty much getting maximum value out of every single Graviton Surge that he throws out. So great stuff from Sign coming into this roster for Athletico. One more fight, the chance here for Melbourne Mavericks to cap it out. Oh, very nice boop.
Yeah, that's going to split up Melbourne to start off the fight. Mini going to be forced onto the low ground. Grab is thrown out from Melbourne, but there's literally nothing to follow it up. Mock's going to go down anyway there to Money.
Yeah, reset time. So they are going to get one more. Ooh, that was not ideal at all for Melbourne Mavericks. They've wasted the Graviton Surge. Nox is going to be disappointed. And it also means that Atletico were able to feed off a couple of those Melbourne Mavericks players and all starting to come up on ultimates, where in that last fight they really didn't have much, but now Atletico has pretty much the entire board to actually play with. And Melbourne Mavericks, it's going to be almost impossible to cap out point B now.
Yeah, well, 7 seconds remain. Someone's going to have to jump there. It's probably going to be Oily getting that first touch, trying to force it into overtime. Self-destruct comes through, doesn't find any kills. Winter, first one down. Earthshatter's come out from Gob as well. Mini about to get picked up if they're not very, very careful. Trance will be used by Money and Baubles.
Nice.
Fluoro throws out the sound barrier as well. Grab has come down from Signed once again. Nox, fortunately, with no grab to work with. Atletico will clean at Melbourne up, who will fail to get even that one tick there on Objective B. And now Atletico are in prime position to make it 2-1 heading into Escort.
Very solid defense from Atletico, which is what they were missing on Numbani.
Yes.
They really struggled on the defense, and I think that might have been part of the reason that Melbourne Mavericks actually decided to start on the attack here. They sensed that weakness. They wanted to take advantage of it, but in that little break that we had, Atletico able to reset themselves, have a chat. What do we need to do here on Hanamura? How do we need to play this one out? And let's just try and ensure that we're not making as many mistakes and not giving up as many fights as what we did there on Numbani, because I think that really was a lot of it. It was Atletico mispositioning themselves, using ultimates at incorrect times, or maybe just a little too late, that kind of thing. which allowed Melbourne Mavericks to really push on through quite comfortably. And it was nicely played from Melbourne Mavericks, of course, taking advantage of all of those errors that Athletico were making. But now we're seeing a much more solid-looking Athletico defense. And it was a lot harder for Melbourne Mavericks in that case. But look, still winnable. You've been able to pick up that 1 point, being able to cap out point A. Still drawable as well for Melbourne Mavericks here. So a draw or a win, of course, is going to be very, very nice. I think at this point, if you're Melbourne Mavericks, you'd probably settle for a draw here.
Yeah, you would 100% settle for a draw if you were Melbourne in this scenario. It's probably pretty unlikely that the Mavericks will be able to hold the first objective. The second one, definitely doable, as we just saw. Atletico were successful in that exact result. But now Atletico are going to push out here on attack. They're not going to waste any time just trying to scout anything out. They're going to go straight out onto the point, push their way through. We'll see if they can do this first objective relatively quickly, or whether Melbourne are going to be able to hold on.
Well, maybe doing what she needs to, getting that info, allowing the team to push on in. It's a good start here for Melbourne Mavericks, though, as Gob goes down early. Should be the immediate reset for Atletico, and you can see that that will be the case, but they don't have their Lucio alive, so they will be getting chased down here. That's really unfortunate as the stagger comes out onto signed. Melbourne Mavericks starting off well. Yeah,
good start. A little bit harder, as you said, to get away if you don't have the Lucio to give you that bit of speed boost pushing through. Atletico going to try and get back onto the point once again. Money a little bit low on health. Those shields do eventually regenerate. Take a look at ultimate charge. It's going to be Mini. A little bit closer. No, it's Gob now actually. Has that Earthshatter. Maybe waiting for that one to come out. Yes, that's what they're doing. They push on out. Gob waiting to find this Earthshatter. You can see that he's got the shield on him as well. Ooh. But it's an Earthshatter from Mini that comes out first. That immediately wins the fight.
Yep, immediately wins the fight very easily for Melbourne Mavericks, but nothing ventured, nothing gained for Atletico. That's fine. They didn't use anything in that fight, Ben, so they do still have the Transcendence, the Earthshatter coming up here as well. Trans will get them in. Earthshatter might win them the fight, but Melbourne Mavericks, for their own right, have 2 support ultimates very, very close by as well. So unless they catch Forbles and Fluoro with this Shatter, it'll be a tough push on through for Atletico.
Let's see what Gob can do with his Q, going down very low, not actually able to use it at all. It's going to be Oily throwing out a self-destruct, finds USMC and Zol's max side. Going to get found out. Atletico did try and make it onto the point. They got a little bit of the way,
Money
but not,
that was on the point? Surely
don't know. Not far enough anyway.
Anyway, regardless, Melbourne Mavericks, very nice ult rotations from them so far on this defense. We've seen again another fight with only a couple thrown in there. Nox with a pretty good grab. This time it's going to be the 2 supports for Melbourne Mavericks, which is pretty much the ideal scenario because this is when Atletico's coming up on their power play ultimates.
Yeah.
And those can really just be shut down by Transcendence and by sound barriers. So for Melbourne Mavericks, they might actually be able to hold on to point A right now.
Wouldn't that be such a big impact on this match if they are able to full hold A? It'd be a pretty big statement as well. Earthshatter's coming out from both. It's Gob who goes down first. Trance is used by Money and Forbles. Evie and Fluoro both using sound barriers respectively. But for now, it's Melbourne who looks maybe like they're just a little bit on top. They're going to hold strong. They've obviously all sitting behind the wall, which will help Atletico. You think surely with the spawn advantage, you can make something of this. But now, only 70-odd seconds remains here. They're going to need to find a pick sooner or later.
They just need to find this kill onto Mini. The D-Mech onto Oily, that's good, but Mini is still alive. Looks like eventually Atletico is going to be able to chase down Melbourne Mavericks here. So this will be enough for them to actually get onto that point and most likely to cap it up as well, unless we see some heroics like what Order was able to do on their own defense.
I think Nox threw out a grab, but maybe it got in and didn't seem to go anywhere.
Must have been eaten. I didn't see it. Now there's going to be that. Atletico capping up point A. Well, you've got to feel a little bit there for Melbourne Mavericks because all it was going to take was maybe that fight and another one.
Yeah.
And Atletico didn't really have much there, but they chose the timing, like you said, Ben. Able to overwhelm Mavericks with the power of numbers. Look at this, what Atletico have to use heading into point B. 4 minutes and 20, not quite as much as what Melbourne Mavericks did have, but all they need is that 1 tick.
Yeah, looking for just 33% on Objective B to put Atletico 2-1 up, heading into Escort. They're going to use the same strat that we saw Melbourne using, high ground onto the middle. Charge comes through. Nice shatter, as you said, countered by Trance again. Looking for the first pick. Earthshatter comes out from the other side. Sound barrier here for Atletico. Fluoro still 5% away. Self-destruct not going to find the kills that it needed to find. Gob charges in, but I think maybe that sound barrier just going to save Mini in the nick of time. Melbourne need to hold strong on defense. They haven't lost a player yet, though. Their players do look a little bit low here. Gob, though, the first one to go down. That could be enough.
It might not be, though, as Mini does get traded out. There's a Graviton surge from Nox as well. Lots of kills coming out here for Evie. I'm not sure this is a clean enough fight win, though, for Athletico, even though one would argue that they probably are winning this fight. The respawns are going to come across for Melbourne Mavericks, and for now, for Athletico, it's just time to back away. Sign is going to try and charge up this Graviton surge before he goes down. That's smart. He actually throws it in, so Athletico think that they can still win this.
Yeah, this is a big play coming out from Sign. Money's actually fine. Flura, they follow it up. 2 more big kills. They only need 1/3, Jordan. This tick is looking ever closer. This big grab coming out from Sign. And oh my goodness, what a huge play coming out from the Zarya play here on Athletico. Sign strong on defense, Sign strong on attack. Jordan Sign still delivered.
Yeah,
it's all Atletico's.
Very, very nice stuff from him there on Hanamura. 2-1 now for Athletico. I thought that fight was over. I thought that they were going to reset, but Signed and the rest of Athletico, I guess, knew what was going on. We also saw Gob coming back in at that exact point, so it was really down to the timing. Gob died, I guess, at the perfect time for him to come back when Signed did have the Graviton surge. That was enough for them to actually push on through, but, well, Athletico get the job done. 2-1 now for them, and we're looking at probably Route 66. I guess the argument maybe for Melbourne Mavericks to pick Dorado. We'll talk about that in a sec. For now, I really have to look at Athletico there as what a turnaround from Numbani. They looked really shaky on Numbani. Their attack was okay, but their defense was really, really poor. But then now here on Hanamura, their defense super, super solid. Signed having a great game there on Zarya. Even if Gob didn't maybe necessarily do so much on the Reinhardt, I think this is just looking fantastic for Athletico when one player is maybe not having the greatest of games there. Another player able to step up. So excellent stuff. And Melbourne Mavericks now potentially staring down the barrel of defeat. I think it's fair to say that they are staring down the barrel of the defeat. If you look at the statistics based on how this next map shapes up for both of these two teams, and Melbourne Mavericks do definitely have a bit of a hill to climb now.
It's a little bit disappointing perhaps for Melbourne as well, because they were so strong on defense on the first objective. They only just managed to lose it, and then when you head to objective B, the objective where theoretically the defending side has the advantage, you think they would have gone a little bit better, but push comes to shove, the fights don't go their way. Signed, as we said, having such a really great game. I feel like a number of those grabs are what turned this match around. Yeah,
definitely. I think every single time we saw a grab out from him, it was a very, very good one. You got to give credit to him. He hasn't played much this season. I think this may even be his first game of the season. He's been a sub for the rosters and that kind of thing, but predominantly it's been Tomo and Micro and USMC that have been taking the DPS role. So, like I said, it's been a bit of a rotation for Athletico throughout this season as far as the DPS roles are concerned. But it's always nice to see Sign being able to slot back in here. And at the moment, it almost looks like Athletico's kind of a bit of a blank blue retirement home, because you got Micro, you got Signed, you got Gob in the roster there as well. I think, was it Money even as well was the sub for Blank Blue at one point. So they're all sort of coming back together. Who knows what's going on? We'll see if we get that dream back again. But for now, focusing back in, and it is going to be Route 66, Ben, which I don't know. I don't know if that's the right choice here for Melbourne Mavericks. I guess we'll see within the next 10, 15, 20 minutes or so. But 5 played from Athletico. They've only dropped the map once, and that was the Sydney Drop Bears. They've beaten everyone else on it. Melbourne Mavericks only have a 50% win rate on this one. I don't know, Dorado, like, it would have been a curveball, right? Dorado would have been the outside pick. It was not maybe the expected choice, but maybe it was the right choice for for Melbourne Mavericks, as they needed, I think, to maybe throw a bit of a spanner in the works here against Athletico. But who knows? They may have something up their sleeve that I am not prepared for.
Maybe they went back and watched what the Drop Bears did on this map. You know, you've seen them lose here. We haven't seen Athletico play at all on Dorado, so there's very little that the Mavericks can actually get out of VODs and things like that. There's very little information you can get on how do Athletico play Dorado. So maybe for them, they've got a little bit more info to work with. They can come through here. They can see what the Drop Bears did to get the victory. Obviously, it helps when the Drop Bears are just that little bit better. But I guess we'll have to wait and see how it does play out. Melbourne going to be pushing out here on attack to kick this one off.
No quad DPS.
Sorry, Melbourne on defense even. So We'll see what Athletico can do on attack here, straight onto the payload. But as were Melbourne, holding nice and strong, holding a very long way forward. But Athletico managed to grab a hold of the payload and start pushing it in the right direction.
Yeah, normally you want to see the defensive side have a bit of a stronger defense there, but Athletico just seem to have muscled them out. It's not like Melbourne Mavericks lost any players, they just backed away. Got a bit too low, got a bit too scared, and allowed Athletico to push up to the corner before the recontest will occur. Still Athletico pushing on forward. That's nice. A great early Earth Shatter.
Probably not even expecting to see the Earth Shatter coming out
so
early in the game, and that's going to get Athletico very strong hold on this first phase here on Route 66. The payload will push through. Melbourne will struggle to even get back in time to contest.
Well, they are going to get a contest here at least, but that was a lot of damage done from Gob. We're thinking he should be around 50%, but nope, he's got the Earth Shatter. Here comes Melbourne Mavericks once again with the rally as well, so a bit of an extra speed boost. Courtesy of Winter.
Yeah, going to try and take the high ground, but Zol's pushed the payload a lot further way forward. Self-destruct with Graviton Surge is used by Athletico. Winter going to go down. You can see that the offensive side also has a number of other ultimates still in their pocket to use. Down barrier going to be used by both sides. Cobb comes through with his second Earth Shatter of the round, and that one also has an impact. Athletico going to get this payload across the line. Objective A is theirs. Phase 2 will commence.
Yeah, Gob definitely having a much better time here than he was on Hanamura. You can start to see now Gob really dictating how this game has played out. Not only has he hit 2 pretty decent Earth Shatters, I guess the second one wasn't anything particularly special, but it did result in the kill onto Forballs. He also was able to block minis as the Graviton Surge came down from Athletico, which could have potentially stopped any kind of attack from Athletico. But great stuff so far from the attacking side of Melbourne Mavericks once again, trying to make something happen.
Gob
catches
so
Mini.
far forward. I thought surely this was not the right play, but I was wrong. He turns around, charges Mini back into his back line. They follow that up with Oiley's D-Mech, Knox going down, Forballs goes down. The payload once again will be Athletico's. That was such a smart play.
Melbourne Mavericks cannot catch a break at all here, can they? Like, every single time they get into a fight, they're losing it really, really quickly. Athletico have barely been stalled at all on this payload push. Once again, Gob is up to 80%. Sinder's got another grab. Like, everything is working perfectly for Athletico right now, and I guess that goes to show their comfort here on Route 66, which is, again, part of the reason I questioned it for Melbourne Mavericks, but now finally coming up on some big ults of their own. Graviton Surge, it got eaten!
It out, and it's going down right into Diva's mouth once again. See you later, that gets gobbled up.
Dear.
Gob, on the other hand, comes through with a good little Earth Shatter. Not going to find the kills this time around. Self-destructing the payload, looking to find some kills. Gob going to go down, finally there to Mini. Can Melbourne turn this around? They are throwing so much into this fight.
Money has trans, he's going to throw it out, but it's too late to save USMC. That might be the breaking point for Athletico. As Nox and Mini still alive, able to pump that damage out. They are going to force Athletico away. It was for but a second that USMC would have survived, as he would have gotten healed by the trans, but in the end, Melbourne Mavericks do hold strong for a moment. Athletico have already regrouped though, and they're still pushing that payload forward.
The payload continues to move forward, even though the Mavericks look like they get the better of the two. Grab going to come out, Forballs uses the trans to keep the team going strong. Zol going to get D-Mech and picked up. Look at that Mini with a lot of big plays coming through there, swinging around that big Reinhardt hammer.
I think Athletico just need to reset for a moment here. It was maybe a bit of a cheeky fight that they didn't necessarily have the perfect setup for. Melbourne Mavericks with the punish. But now Athletico will just regroup, make themselves 6. They've got a lot of ultimates here. Melbourne Mavericks do as well. It's been a good game so far from Athletico here on Route 66, but it's not over. We've got to push further.
Yeah, going to swap sides actually this time around. Athletico going to push through. Melbourne comes into the other side. Self-destruct looking for a pick, not going to find anyone. Forballs with the right click, looking to throw out 5 of those balls all at once. Sound barrier here for Athletico, trying to keep them in it, but it's Gob who goes down to Oiley. Graviton Surge has come out as well. Not going to have any form of impact. Melbourne should be able to pick this one up. No, Mini's down, Oiley's down as well. Maybe Athletico can get this across the line.
Yeah, no, it was a good enough grab for Athletico. Caught quite a few of the Melbourne Mavericks members, and there was a couple of players that did fall in it. And the rest of them were fairly low as it faded away. It doesn't look like Melbourne Mavericks are in a position to recontest here. So point B took a little bit of time for Athletico, actually. They had to regroup a couple of times to try and make something work, but they've still managed to cap it up. 2 minutes 40 left here. Definitely enough time to get through to point C, but it most likely looks like it'll be an overtime here if Athletico do get it, because right now they're running out of ultimates. They need a fight or two to charge them up, and by that stage, then you're looking at the overtime territory. Yeah, for me, it's really just comes down to here. Can Athletico get the trance up early? Can they push through and maybe find a fight win that gets them some momentum? But Gob going to go down there to Fluoro, and well, I think a good charge came out there from Mini as well, which probably helped that one along. Atletico, though, as we said, looking to find some kills, going to be successful. Ooh. Big Earthshatter coming out there from Mini, looking to clean it up, but Mini is low. Maybe Mini goes down here as well. Going to get chased down now. The Melbourne Mavericks going to have to start staggering back onto the payload. We'll see whether they choose to wait and give up a bit of space. Yeah, spawn advantage helping out Atletico quite a bit there. It was nicely played, I guess, from Melbourne Mavericks, just to buy them some time. It's cut a minute off the clock for Atletico, but it has been an ultimate usage from Mini. And Atletico also able to charge themselves up quite a bit. So a minute 30 here, actually still a real possibility to get through. With Atletico having all of these ults available to them. Looking for the first pick. Mini takes a bit of damage, stays alive for now. That shield not looking all that healthy either. Sound barrier going to come out here from Fluoro. Evie has one that she can use if required. Trans pop there by Forbles. Melbourne throwing a lot into this, but they still have a bit in the pocket to work with. Gob still now going to be able to throw out that Earthshatter. Throws it out in combination with the self-destruct. Going to find Winter and Oily. Atletico in prime position now. Mini goes down. Atletico with the advantage. The spawns there. This is going to come down to Melbourne. Staggering onto the payload. They're not going to get another good fight. Potential for Atletico to do this and still have time on the clock. They didn't even get there, Ben. They did not even get there. And that's unfortunate for Melbourne Mavericks. It was looking pretty good up to that point. Yeah. The Earthshatter and self-destruct combo was the masterstroke for Atletico that was enough to push them through. 47 seconds on the clock, it's not a lot of time, but with time available even on Route 66, that's kind of a luxury these days in Overwatch Contenders in the GOATS meta. So let's see what Atletico have got for us here on the defense. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's going to be anything too crazy. No quad DPS, just the standard fare. The same can be said for Melbourne Mavericks on attack. Yeah, I can't help but feel that if Melbourne had maybe had a little bit of a better start on the first phase here. You know, they pushed a long way forward and then lost that fight almost immediately. Obviously, that Earthshatter coming out very early for Gob, and then they fought again, they lost that. It really, if they earned themselves just a little bit more time there, just a bit more of a buffer. Yeah, 30, 40 seconds. Yeah. Maybe we wouldn't have seen this come through with time left on the clock. Maybe not, but this is the situation that they have now, and they have to get through. They have to be able to beat Atletico now in an overtime fight into a second phase if we get there. But they have to first focus on capturing all 3 points of Route 66. Not an easy task. It doesn't look like we're going to be seeing any real shenanigans. Winter with Hunzo just going to look for the Sonic Arrow into the train carts, making sure that there's no forward hold from Atletico. Mini will swap off onto, I assume, Reinhardt. Winston may be an option, but I think Reinhardt's the go here for them. There's no shenanigans out from Atletico on the defense. Very standard stuff. Signed up on the high ground. Maybe where you would ordinarily see a Diva. So it's a bit of a change up, but signed in, it's just going to drop back down. So pretty standard hold here for Atletico. Looking for that first pick. Mini dives on through. Still quite low. Force back here. Quite aggressive play coming out from Atletico on defense. You're seeing the Diva versus Diva fight as well as Zol forced to drop back. Once again, Mini and Gob swinging those hammers strong. Mini trying to get around the backside now. Forced back around the front. The charge comes through. Gob knocked down. Gob picked up as well. Mini found out also, but of course the spawns in Melbourne's advantage. Even saying that, Atletico looking like maybe they'll be able to hold on for just a little bit longer. Well, Sign is putting in a lot of work. He's up to 80% already. Keeping his team in this one. Zol needs to get that mech back before this fight eventuates, although I think for Atletico, the option really is just to back away, wait for the respawners. That's good enough, though, for Atletico. Winning one fight, that's something that Melbourne Mavericks weren't able to do, so already they're in with a bit of an advantage if we look at it that way. Grab out now from Stein. Yeah, here we go, looking to follow that up with a bit of damage. Nox goes down straight away, coming out from USMC. Atletico now with 5 ultimates remaining. Melbourne only with 3, looking for Mini's
Hammer coming out shortly. There's the self-destruct over the top. Oh, Mini's going to charge off the side as well. No, stays in, but is eventually booped off. Atletico putting on a very strong defense there. That was a bit of a surprise.
What a strange fight that was. But in the end, it works out nicely. I think a big part of the fact was Forball so far away. The Transcendence came out when the grab was thrown from Sign, as you should expect, as is the case normally. But he was too far away to actually save Nox, who died before the Transcendence was able to heal him up. And so Athletico do win a pretty good fight. But now is Melbourne Mavericks' time to strike, their time to push forward.
Shatter. Well, did it really find what it needed to? Probably not is the answer. Trans from Gob. Going to push on through. Sorry, trans from Money. Even Fluoro with the sound barrier. Forbles, no trans to work with. Mini the first one down. More great work from Sign. Self-destruct not having the picks. But Gob does eventually go down to Winter, who finds two very crucial pickups in that particular fight. Sign still doing work. Finally goes down to Winter. Wow.
Well, that'll pretty much be the fight done and dusted. Evie goes for a flight to the moon for a moment there. But Athletico actually even here probably still have an opportunity to recontest into point A. Evie's going to be coming up last, which, well, Money is, but both at the same time, roughly, which essentially means that they're going to be able to get that speed boost here into point A if they want to recontest. And looks like the tanks are in position to it. Evie and Money shouldn't be too far behind. With this Transcendence out for Athletico, they definitely can make it happen. And
look at this.
Melbourne Mavericks have backed away.
Wow, going to fall back, waiting for...
I'm not sure.
Not sure. Going to come back around the front, just maybe wanting a better positioning. Maybe we'd need to look back on the VOD to see how that one played out. Self-destruct coming through from Atletico. Does find Mini. Melbourne in a very bad spot right now. They do trade it back for USMC. They need to find another. They need to find the Reinhardt. With Gob still alive, this can be very tough for Melbourne to push on through. Winter found out by Evie, and now Melbourne going to need to fall back and just take one more fight, I feel.
Well, Nox actually does get the kill onto Gob. Problem is right now for Melbourne Mavericks, they're lacking on the heals. They're not able to stay in this fight. Signed finally missing a grab. I'm actually not sure what he was throwing that one out for, because it seemed like the fight was pretty much already won, and there was no one even there, no one close to it.
Just trying to force them out, Jordan.
Might have fat-fingered it. Might have fat-fingered it. A little bit unlucky. I don't know, but who cares?
A zoning grab.
Exactly.
Is what it was.
12 seconds left on the clock. That grab would be mighty useful right now for Atletico, but they're going to have to rely on the support ultimates.
Yeah.
Rally to boost them up. Gob, maybe a big shutter here for him.
Looking for the right time, that's for sure. Mini with the shield up. Every time Mini jumps, you got to be a little bit scared. There's the sound barrier and the self-destruct and the grab all coming out. Nice charge. That's the one you're looking for. Gob and Sign both going down. Melbourne should be able to win this fight. Atletico going to fight it out. However, Mini now comes on through, finds a number of kills. Great play actually there from the Reinhardt for Melbourne, and should win them the fight. Look, they threw a lot into that though.
Yes, they're struggling a little bit right now, Melbourne Mavericks, on that timer, 2 minutes and 24 seconds as they head into point B. And if you think about how long that actually took Atletico, if it takes Melbourne Mavericks that long, they're not actually going to be able to cap. So they need a really, really solid point B capture here. They pretty much need to do it without stopping at all. And even then, getting into point C, their time is going to be quite low. So overtime probably on the cards here if they do finish the map already.
Gob has this Earth Shatter available, as does Mini. The Shatter comes out from Mini to start things off. Does not have much of an impact though. Sol will get DMAX. That's coming out from Oily. Gob goes to throw out his Earth Shatter, but does not have the impact that he needs. And now Melbourne going to find themselves back on top. They'll finally get this payload moving. They are, however, running out of time.
Yeah, still not a bad fight tempo-wise for Atletico. It obviously buys them 30 or 40 seconds here, but also forces a few ults out from Melbourne Mavericks. Atletico still have a couple of their own, so there'll be a really solid contest here into the point B capture out from both sides. Scient has proven time and time again to be the difference with those grabs. Didn't have it to defend point A because he threw it out a little bit willy-nilly, but definitely has it here for point B.
Yeah, looking for another strong grab here from Sign. Nox has one as well, throws out his burst. Self-destruct comes through. Oh, that's big. Actually pretty strong. I thought that surely Atletico had that covered. They did not seem concerned, but really there didn't seem to be much that they could do about it. That's the reality. Gob and Zol both got picked up. Now going to be respawning and coming back into the fight, though even though Melbourne threw all of that at it, now they are falling back. Atletico only need to defend for 40 more seconds.
Yeah, the rallies being enough sustain there for Athletico also keeps Money and Sign very, very healthy with the shield and armor interaction. So Athletico able to hold on. 30 seconds left here for Melbourne Mavericks. What do they have? An Earth Shatter, maybe a Transcendence, but Mini, he needs to come up large right now for Melbourne Mavericks.
Looking for a bit. There you go. That's a huge Earth Shatter, and that will win them the fight. Zol, Evie, and I can't even see. There you go. Money, the last hope for Athletico on the point.
No, it doesn't matter.
Money holds onto the trans, as is expected. The payload moves forward. Objective B should be secured here by Melbourne.
Yeah, it will be, but in the overtime, so they're going to get a minute and a half to push on through. Now, there is surely no way that they don't get this one through in overtime. Not that it hugely matters, but it is, I think, going to mean that Athletico have basically assured themselves a time advantage into the overtime if we get there. Right now, that's the Melbourne Mavericks. Their mission right now is to capture points. They need to do that, need to keep them alive. Gob, a very nice Earth Shatter, gets 3.
Yeah, he was getting a little bit bullied there, comes back out, counters that with the Earth Shatter. The Trans will try and keep Melbourne alive, but it was a little bit too late to save their Reinhardt, who now eventually does respawn. Fluoro going to get staggered there as well as Athletico push all the way back into the attacker's spawn. Now 45 seconds on the clock, already below the time that Athletico has in their time bag. Should they be required to do this once again?
Yeah, Melbourne Mavericks need to be fighting on the front foot. They can't afford to run into Signed with the Graviton Surge first. They need to get theirs out, but Signed, there it is. Hasn't hit too much by the looks of things. Still, the Diva self-destruct does get 1. That's enough to force the reset out from Melbourne Mavericks. 2 ults used from Athletico.
Yeah.
None from Melbourne Mavericks. A good economic fight, but it does cost them time, and they're going to have to stagger on to this point.
It's going to be tough now. 15 seconds remains. Melbourne, this is what they need to do to stay in Contenders Season 3 here in Australia. It's been a good season for them so far, but they need to follow it up with something here. The grab comes out. USMC the first one down. Gob at 50%. Oily, though, about to go down as well. Mini still has the Earth Shatter. Has to get back into the fight. Has to get onto the payload. There's only 2 players there right now. Winter is low, stays alive. Nox now going to jump back on. Mini's gone down. That's not what Melbourne wants to see. On the other hand, Athletico feeling real good right about now. It's just Fluoro and Forbles, the 2 supports. Grab comes out just before the Zarya goes down. Fluoro should get found out now. The Diva gets back onto there as well. That's Oily. There you go. Fluoro down. Baby Diva, the last hope. Winter onto the point. Mini now onto the point. But you can see it's getting ever more difficult, and I think this is where Melbourne's run ends.
Most certainly is going to be. Formal staggering on there as well on Tracer, but overtime finally ticks away, and Athletico are going to secure the 3-1 over the Melbourne Mavericks and also secure their place in the semi-finals at LAN and in the top 4.
Congratulations heads out to Athletico. A pretty good season for them. Bit of a shaky start in this quarter-final. Jordan, the only team now to have dropped a map. But to be fair, it does feel like of all the teams in the quarters, these were the 2 that were most evenly matched.
Well, I think yesterday we probably would have said that we expected Heist and Blank to be fairly evenly matched as well, but that was not the case. Now, in hindsight, definitely I agree with you. Athletico and Melbourne Mavericks was always expected to be one of the closer matches of the playoffs, and that has proven to be the case. Good effort put in there from Melbourne Mavericks, but maybe not quite living up to what they wanted to this season. It really did seem like Melbourne Mavericks, this might be their season where they might be able to push it through to the season finals and achieve something that they haven't been able to do just yet. But unfortunately for Melbourne Mavericks, that's not going to be the case. Not this season, at least. They have to be left waiting. And for Athletico, they are also able to, I mean, essentially for Athletico right now, I think that's kind of the pass score, right? Being able to get through to the top 4. Most of these players you would have expected to see in the season final, so that's nicely done, but where can they go from here is the question, I think, for Athletico now. Yeah,
well, for Melbourne, their run in Season 3 is over. They'll move across and go up against Mind Freak in a playoff to see whether they lock themselves in a slot for Season 1 2019. And to be fair, after that performance, I'd like to think that they should be able to achieve that, lock themselves a slot in the top 6 and not have to fight for those final 2 slots a little bit later on in the year. But for now, Athletico, they'll do it strong. And you know, I think Athletico do have a shot up against a team like Order, but they're going to have to improve from what we saw today.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be a tough match. I mean, there's again some parallels between some of these players on the Athletico roster and the Order organization where they have come from that. So it's kind of, I think, the ideal scenario, actually, when we do get to those season finals. You know, we've got a lot of the Sydney Drop Bears players that are looking, or the former Sydney Drop Bears players that are looking for revenge against the Drop Bears. And we've also got a lot of these Order players, the former Order players now on a different team going up against Order. So a bit of a revenge storyline there as well for a few of them. So definitely some cool things to keep an eye on when we do get through to those top 4 stages. But, you know, looking at playoffs as a whole, we've essentially gotten again the expected result, which with every higher seed team winning their match. I think this season was the closest season of all the 3. So that's good. We're getting further and further along, and we're getting closer and closer and closer, and still waiting to see that upset. Maybe not this season, obviously, but maybe next season.
Well, Elfishguy, it's time for our final quarterfinals Macca's play of the game. A McDonalds Australia play of the game. Athletico up against Melbourne Mavericks. It was signed here on Zaya. Signed, I think, not only gets the Macca's play of the game, Jordan, but the Elfishguy and Sandman player of the match. Yeah,
that's a new one. I'm sure he'll be happy to receive that one. But definitely was a very, very nice graviton surge out from him. Not just the grab. Like, I mean, the grab, sure, he gets a couple of players, but I think the whole map in general there from Sign and this point in particular onto point B, even on defense and on attack, he was really doing a lot of damage, pretty much munching through Melbourne Mavericks, and super, super high charge, super quick grabs, and generally speaking, at least on Hanamura, very, very good
I can't help
grabs.
but feel like literally signed, camped Athletico in that Hanamura, and then eventually ended up helping to win it for them. It could have been a very different story if it had been 2-1. Heading into Route 66.
Yeah, I mean, we could be onto Nepal right now, and that's would have been a pretty exciting map to watch, but unfortunately we're not going to get that. Atletico's pretty happy that we're not getting onto Nepal, though, I'm sure. And I think for me, Atletico's kind of been a bit of a sleeper team. We maybe didn't expect them to go this far in the season. They had a pretty tough group, but then they had a very solid win over Blank, and then things look a bit interesting for them. We've started to really build into the season. I think maybe similar to Order, where they were undersold toward the start of the season, and now getting toward the end of the season, we're really starting to see how strong this roster actually can be. And I think they definitely deserve to be within the top 4.